This week's video is the long-awaited, highly anticipated dupe challenge hosted by Clara from No Can Do. You'll want to check out and subscribe to Clara's channel if you haven't already, as well as all of the channels of the participants on the playlist of the dupe challenge. My dupe is the Anthropologie Isla Dresser. Check out that price tag. I was drawn to the clean lines of it, so pretty, and here is my dresser. You think I can make the transition? So I looked inside my dresser. I was a little concerned, but those were just screws. Now that was concerning, big fuzzy hairball. There was some missing veneer, but overall it was in pretty good shape. Whoever stained it did it on newspaper and then let it dry that way, so the original newspaper from their stain job was on there. Everything was in pretty good shape, no major repairs required for this piece. The top drawer was curved and the bottom one was kind of a double drawer. So I got to cleaning it. You can see in the back on the top there the original blonde finish that was stained over. And I am using Dixie Belle's White Lightning TSP furniture cleaner. And it's a degreaser and you want to make sure you rinse it. So that original piece had that blonde finish and the hardware, so cool. And I love that ribbed surface on there. It's kind of an ash wood, I would imagine. So again, mine has some curved features to it. So I want to transition some of that. And I can buy the pulls from Amazon that are identical, and then the wood legs, they come in a set of 4, but this one has 5 legs, so I got an extra one from Lowe's. I love the locker at Lowe's. Sometimes I don't feel very people-y, so I started to use the carbide scraper. My thought was I was going to scrape the entire piece, strip it back to its original veneer. So just enjoy a little scraping and the satisfying results. Okay, well, the scraping went on and on. I decided I was going to do a faux finish, and I stopped where I was and kind of moved on a little bit and decided to revisit the finish after I did some repairs. So I had a drawer glide that was just loose, so I glued it and weighed it down, and that was an easy fix for that. So now I look at that top again, and like I said, the decision was made that I'm going to do a faux finish. That's something I do well, and I'm busy moving my store, so I don't have a whole lot of time. So I decided to go for the faux finish. So I'm starting with the drawers, and I am giving them a good scuff sand. And I'm starting with some dowel rods, my miter box, and a saw to replicate the finish. I measure it out. I start in the center to see where we are with things. And then I just try some sticks on for size just to see what the spacing should look like. And then I decide that they look good to be about 1 inch apart. So yeah, quick decision made, and I get to just marking on the top and the bottom 1 inch apart. So each drawer front has 23 dowel rods on it. I'm going to do this on the 2 flat drawers. on the top and the two flat drawers on the bottom, then the curved drawer that's on the top, I think it would be a little overkill to do all the dowels on that, considering the ribbed trim that's on either side of it. So that was just my decision. It's not going to be a twin, but it's definitely going to have the same feel as the Anthropologie piece. So this part is time consuming, no doubt about it. So the original piece has sort of like a carved look. I am trying to achieve the same look by using the dowel rods, and then after this step I'm going to use some mud, Dixie mud or a spackling essentially, to achieve the same look. I tape this down and let that dry overnight and then come in with that mud. I start slowly with using my fingers, and then I end up with a spackling knife. Between the two of them, a putty knife, between the two of them, I get everything spackled, and then that has to dry. Phew, that was a lot of work, but it was satisfying. So I turn the piece on its side and I remove the just the piece of wood that's holding on that front plate. And there you have it. And then I proceed to use my jigsaw after drawing a line across of the piece that I would like to remove. And then I start to install the brackets for the wood legs. I have to build up the front to match the back. I'm pre-drilling so I make sure that I don't split any of the wood pieces. The finish on these legs is actually kind of what I would like to achieve with my faux finish. I build up the center a little bit more so that it's level with the other legs. So I'm using those legs as inspiration for a color match. And I end up using Dixie Belle's Cashmere and Chocolate. Cashmere was a limited release. Now those drawer pulls are not exactly the same color as the bottom of the legs. So I'm using some Rust-Oleum spray paint to match that gold tone finish. So I need to even out the bottom of the drawers for uneven dowels. So I'm just using the jigsaw, and I am using that laser line that helps me. and just making sure that my plate is nice and flat so that it just kind of glides right over all of those sticks and evens them out. And I sand those surfaces smooth. I apply a coat of Dixie Belle's Boss Primer. Not only is that going to block any bleed through of any tannins and any spots that I sanded to the wood, but it'll also give me a nice base for my paint. And I go along and get any spots on the dresser that I haven't gotten with any of the mud, and I take a look at the piece and put a coat of Boss Primer on it as well. And then I begin my faux finish. I am using Zebra brush, the triangle brush. I love that brush, and it was absolutely just the perfect tool to get in between all those little dowels. So I paint a little, and then while it's wet, I come back in with a fan brush in the chocolate. I'm in the beginning of my stages here to see how everything works. So I use that brush, but then I begin to use a stamp from IOD, or Iron Orchid Designs, and it is the Barnwood plank stamp. And I choose the one that just has little lines in it, and that simulates to me the ash finish that you see those little lines in. So I continue experimenting, and I continue painting a larger section with the cashmere. And then while it's still wet, I come back in with my chocolate using the stamp. As I progress, I use the stamp more heavily than I do the brush, and I come back in with the brush a good bit and just do some touch-up. So you'll see as I proceed that I use more and more of the stamp. So then I dip my paint in the wrong brush and I accidentally coat it with chocolate. Oh well, I'm going to set that aside for the time being, let it dry, and come back and finish it with the cashmere paint. So I paint a larger surface now with the cashmere, and I am using the mister also to keep the paint wet, and then I come back in and I do the entire drawer. So as you go, you learn your shortcuts, but I really like the way that pattern turned out. Whether it's exactly like the original finish or not, I feel like I got the same feeling throughout. I'm pretty happy with it, as you'll see. So I just continue the process. That's the thing with projects like this, is so many details, and sometimes it doesn't look at all like what you think it's going to. But if you just keep trusting the process and just keep going, then you'll end up with a good result. I move on and do the same thing to those curved drawers. Being very random with the stamp, and the IOD sisters always say that you tickle the stamp. So you don't want to apply solid pressure on it, just lightly, and then you get that random look. I proceed through the entire dresser and do the same over every surface. I just work a section at a time. So I feel like my finish is a little yellowy. So I'm going to go back over and I'm sanding again after my first finish just to take down any of the rough spots or paint crumbs, if you will, that you kind of get with the chalky style paints. And I'm going to use glaze. I'm using Dixie Belle's whitewash glaze. And I apply the glaze and then I just take a paper towel. I do a little section at a time and just take a towel or a rag and just wipe back the glaze. Okay, apparently I decided to do the whole drawer before wiping it back. When you work with glaze, it's kind of like a thinner paint, yet it's almost like a gel. You'll get used to working with it, but and how long it takes to dry. I like the look of this. Then later I decide that it's almost not enough and I add a second coat. In retrospect, I wouldn't have added that second coat, but I did, and my piece is lighter than the inspiration piece, but I'm okay with that. Time to apply the hardware. Took me a minute to figure out how to put this on. Once I figured it out, it was super easy. Also, I used one of the drawers with the dowels on it to get the center, and then it was really easy to measure the rest after that. I simply used a straight edge and just put it inside the drawers and just lined it up that way. So next I clean out all the remaining crumbs and sawdust from the drawers, and I'm using Dixie Belle's Orange Grove Big Mama's Butter to recondition the drawer insides. It smells so good, like oranges, and it just freshens the drawers. And I also put it on the tracks so that the drawers are going to glide easily. It just makes the whole piece smell great inside and out. And then I take clear wax and I apply over the entire finish. So let's look back at where we started, and then our inspiration. And how do you think we did? Our details aren't exactly the same, but overall I think that my piece gives the same feel as the original $2,498 Anthropologie inspiration piece. What do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think. And again, don't forget to check out the entire playlist. And thank you, Clara, for hosting this wonderful collaboration. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video, how about giving it a thumbs up and also share it with your friends? If you haven't subscribed, you'll want to do that so you don't miss anything. Visit us at lavintagedecor.company, and on Instagram we're LaVintageDecor, and on Facebook we're LaVintageDecor Altoona. Stay well.